This is my first day as filling in as a chairperson, but I'm the vice chair and I think I'm gonna be voted into chair. That's right, so just pretend I'm doing a good job, so all right, game please on, I'm gonna start the meeting. All right, it's 4 o'clock, we're gonna get this meeting started. Thank you very much for being here, I'm calling the meeting to order. Can the commissioners announce their attendance, please?
I can do a roll call.
Okay.
Commissioner Barlow.
Here.
Commissioner Collum. Commissioner O'Neill. Vice Chair Rodriguez.
Here.
And Commissioner Smith-Carvello. We have Commissioner Pizel and Chair Rath currently absent. Staff today would be Planning Manager Hill, Principal Planner Roveri, Senior Associate Planner Schmidt, and myself, Recording Secretary Argenbright. Information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is on this meeting's agenda, which is online at monterey.gov/agendas. Remote commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen. If you are connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. In the chamber, we recommend keeping phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with the meeting. Thank you for participating in your city government.
That this time I can ask if any member of the public has any comments on the consent agenda.
Can you check your mic for that on? Thank you.
That's the door. At this point, I'm going to ask any member of the public if they have any comments on the consent agenda.
Comments on today's agenda.
The word, we'll take it up in a little bit just on the consent agenda. Spencer, is there anybody online?
There are no attendees currently online.
All right, so on the consent agenda, we have approval of the July 10th, 2025 minutes. Any comment on that by the commissioners? No? Do we have? Yes, please.
I thought the minutes were good and clear, and I thank Spencer for the minutes. It helps to have the review of the meeting.
All right.
Do we have to make a motion? Yeah.
I make the motion then that we accept the minutes.
All right. Any second?
Oh, go ahead. I'll second.
All right. Thank you. All right. Since we're all present, please check me. We can do, or do we have to do roll call? We don't, right? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Minutes pass. All right. So now we're going to move to the first item on the agenda, which is to consider 581 Scott Street. And
Sorry, did we check for public comments for items not on the agenda?
sorry. No, thank you. Any public comment for items not on the agenda today?
There are currently no attendees online currently.
I see a hand in the public.
We can't hear you. Which comments are you asking?
Not on the agenda. I understand you want to make a comment on something on the agenda, right? Okay. So anybody online, Spencer?
No, still no attendees online.
All right. Okay, so I think we can now move to consider the first item on the agenda, which is to consider 581 Scott Street. And I think staff has a presentation for us.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Bear with me for one moment. My name is Chris Schmidt. I'm a senior associate planner for the city, and I've been working with the applicants on this project. Today, we are looking at an item that was heard by the HPC the last meeting on July 10th. That item was continued to a date uncertain, and I will get into those specific details as to why. But just to start with the staff recommendation, staff recommends that the HPC adopt a resolution approving the permit amendment application for an expansion of a rooftop deck, as well as the historic permit application for alterations to the garage and tobacco barn, as well as adoption of an amended historic preservation report in support of both proposals. These are amended reports, basically addendums to the original report for this project for the proposals at 581 Scott Street. So just some background information. The subject property is located in the lower Old Town neighborhood. It has a medium density multifamily general plan designation and is zoned R36H2. The H2 is the city's local historic overlay zoning district. It's a fairly large lot at 25,550 square feet, and it contains the primary residence is known as the Helm House, and it does contain a number of accessory buildings on the lot, some of which that are proposed for alterations today. So just some further background, and these were this is information that was presented to the commission in the past, but since we may have new viewers today, I'll go back into that detail. So this project started years ago with the submission of a Mills Act application in July of 2023, as well as some alterations to the exterior building in the form of an architectural review permit. By November of 2023, the property was rezoned H2. As I mentioned, it was the Frank Helm House for association with Frank Helm, who operated Helm's Tobacco on Alvarado Street in Monterey, and qualified as a local historic resource based on the California registered criteria as 1 and 2, association with architecture, as well as persons important to the area. In November of that same year, the council also approved the Mills Act contract. Flash forward to July of 2024, the HPC reviewed and approved a 1,317 square foot addition. And then in July of this year, the HPC reviewed the application that we're looking at today. The application includes an expansion of a previously approved deck. This would be a 68 square foot addition within the footprint of the already approved roof line. And then there are also restoration and alteration work proposed at the tobacco barn and garage structures, which I'll identify on a following slide. But that work includes new foundation work, interior structural walls, and roof framing, new roofing materials, skylights, and other repairs. So starting with the deck, so if you can see my cursor, hovering it over the previously approved deck. This deck was approved as part of the addition, which you can see on the south side of the lot here. And this deck would be located above the hyphen connection between the original structure on the north-hand side and the addition side. The applicant is proposing this 68 square foot addition here. And then just to identify the other buildings where there's work proposed, we have the garage and the tobacco farm. And just for reference, here and Larkin Street on the left-hand side. So looking at the plan view, here is using the same colors. I've identified the roof, the previously approved roof deck in orange, and the location of the new deck in blue. So this is the project as approved before, where you could see there was a roof line that extends out almost to the gable ridge line of the existing dwelling here. And the deck would be kind of set back a little bit behind the addition here. And so here's a comparison. So that's kind of same image, similar rather image on the left, and the proposal on the right for the deck expansion. And then I do have a couple of elevations that show what that would look like. So this would be the view from the neighboring property at 211 Larkin Street. You can see this is the previous approval where you could see the windows here. The deck railing would generally be located behind the gable here. And then you could see into the window, through the windows where the spiral staircase to access the second floor would be located. And then here's the new deck railing, which is a glass railing to match the railing on the other side of the approved deck. Moving on to the tobacco barn and garage, I just am highlighting, again, their locations, but also showing where those skylights would be. This is not to scale, just an estimate shown in these blue rectangles here, but I just wanted to identify them so it was clear where they were proposed in relation to property lines and neighboring properties. And the elevations for the tobacco barn. So you can see those skylights. One of the comments from the commission last month was there was a lot of discussion relating to the skylights and their adjacency to Larkin Street. questioning whether they should be located on this side of the building or on the other side, which would be visible from Scott Street. Similarly, here's the garage improvement. The skylights are highlighted here as well. So generally, the outbuilding, accessory building improvements are maintenance, construction of new roof structural members, new roofing materials, skylights, and then the applicants are also constructing new structural walls within the interior of the building to support the existing building, and constructing a new foundation to connect to those structural walls on the inside of the building. So they would construct the walls and excavate where they would pour the new foundation and attach at that point. I went and took this photo today. One of the discussion points relating to the skylights was brought up by the project historian that at least for the tobacco building, the Larkin Street side was selected because this is the primary view of the historic building and of these buildings as viewed from Scott Street. So this is I was standing kind of in the middle of Scott Street to take this photo. And so as you could see, they may be a little bit more visible on this side. That's something for the commission to consider. Now, the city did receive public comments for this project. In July, we did receive public comments from John Bailey, who represents the owner of 211 Larkin Street. And he included a number of issues pertaining to issues with the expansion of the deck, as well as issues relating to the work being done at the garage structure, because there is a sewer lateral that crosses the subject property. And then we did receive comment from Tony Flores, who owns 226 Larkin Street. Mr. Flores had issues with the sort of impacts that would come with a rooftop deck, and requested that there be adequate notice and public hearing discussion about the project. And then we just also had a number of comments during that July meeting relating to whether the project is appropriate and consistent with the city's requirements. And so just wanted to touch on those items. And I do believe Mr. Bailey did submit another comment letter today, which was forwarded to the commission in advance of the meeting, further discussing some of the similar points, identifying that kind of general location of where that sewer lateral would be. So yeah. So moving on to the findings for approval, the required findings for historic permits that must be made by the HPC include consistency with the Secretary of Interior standards. Staff was able to make this finding. It's consistent based on what the historian recommended as submitted. The applicant hasn't made any changes to the project since the commission viewed this project last month, and the project historian still maintains that the project is consistent. Staff does agree. I do have those findings on later slides. It's a lot of information. I can reference them if there's any specific finding that we want to discuss, but I'll hold off on that unless requested by the commission. And then number two, the next set of findings have to do with adoption of a historic preservation report. Historic preservation report was adopted when this project was initially approved. The historian prepared addendums for both scopes of work, the garage and tobacco barn work, as well as the deck addition work. Historic preservation reports per code are required to have consistency with a number of additional findings, identification of the Secretary of Interior standard treatment, which in this case is rehabilitation, the description of events describing its significance and changes over time, historic context and interpretive period, which was determined to be the context was architecture and physical development, and context period of 1900 through 1936. An architectural history of the resource, a program for preservation of the resource. Again, these are addendums to the original preservation report, which has been included as an attachment to your resolution. So with that, staff recommends approval of the project. I'm available for questions. The applicants and owners are here. The project historian and architect are here as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? Please.
Yeah, just a couple, Chris. Do we have a material sample of the roof shingle?
I don't have that as part of the application.
Oh. And then if the commission here were to make some modifications to, let's say, the skylight location, would that require the historic preservation report to be, trued up or updated to be consistent with what's approved?
Yeah, we would recommend that it be updated.
Okay, so something for the record, meaning you have it for the file or for the record in the.
So we would require that the report be amended and then it would be included with the resolution.
That's it. Thanks.
Any other questions? I have one question. So at issue here is only the extra 68 square feet.
That's one.
One of the issues, plus the skylights and the bar,
Correct.
but for the main structure, we're talking about the
Yes.
68
Correct.
square feet. Okay. Okay. All right. So I heard the applicant is present. Would the applicant like to make a presentation?
Hello, I'm Meg Clovis, and the point that I'd like to talk about are the skylights. So as you know, the tobacco barn was a storage building. So there was no natural light in the building. It will now have a new use that will require some natural light. I'm not sure what that new use is, but it's not going to be storage. So there's two options. First, you could cut new windows into the building, into the walls, or you can put in skylights. Skylights are allowed by the Secretary of Interior Standards and Guidelines on secondary elevations. Now, if you were going to cut new windows in, that would require disturbing original fabric. In other words, those walls are original. The material on the roof is not original. And so that's why the skylight option was selected. The front of the building faces the house. There was a long loading dock there at one point in time, and that's where the front door is. So that's the primary elevation. The location of the skylights are on a secondary elevation as the standards require. And so that's why that location was selected. Can I answer any questions?
Did they consider ridge skylights that run along the ridge of the building?
I will let the architect answer that question. I'm not sure.
Okay, and do you know if the skylights are non-reflective?
No, I don't. So again,
Thank you.
anything for me or shall we?
Yeah, just a quick clarification. So these accessory buildings are contributing building. They're not historic resources themselves. They're contributing to the property and the classification of an H2 zoning, right?
Well, they are, a contributing building is considered an important part or a significant part
Okay.
of the complex.
So the comment that you had about the primary, the east facade, the front facade versus the rear being, you said something that it piqued my interest a bit about one of the reasonings you were placing the skylights on the west facade is because it wasn't the primary, the front. But these are contributing accessory buildings. So would they still have the integrity if we did do these skylights on the west side?
The standards apply to these buildings since they're contributing.
Okay.
The standards and guidelines.
Yes. So would there still be integrity to the tobacco barn if the skylights were moved to the east facade?
It's not a recommendation from the Secretary of Interior Standards. It would not be appropriate. It's not a good preservation decision.
Please.
Do you have further information about why that wouldn't be a good recommendation?
Yes, it's from the Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation in the guidelines. The guidelines say that they recommend adding skylights or dormers on secondary roof elevations. And this is the The elevation that was selected is a secondary elevation. The elevation that faces the house is the primary elevation.
I understand that. And we did take a field trip and we did walk around the property. It was in the afternoon and both, well, actually the side towards the house, the roof slanted side, not the, I call it the front where the door is, where it's facing the street.
That is, yes, that's a secondary elevation. That's not a front elevation. The door that's facing, that is on the, facing the house, that is the front elevation. And you can see it from the Sanborn maps, that it's always been the front elevation.
Well, I'm just saying that on both the larger rectangular sides of the roof, both had sunshine at that time in the afternoon. The part where there was a larger entrance, maybe not a door, but it seemed like it towards
Where the loading dock
Street,
is?
towards Scott Street.
Okay, that's a secondary elevation.
Okay. And so I'm talking about the slanted large part of the roof that goes toward the house, not the part that goes towards Scott Street. What do you call that?
That's the primary elevation.
That's the primary. Well, when you actually look at it from Scott Street, you see a little bit of that. But the fact that the building is narrow as it faces Scott and broader as it goes back, you don't see that so prominently. We had neighbors showing us photographs of the side that faces them, and it was a larger, broader view than the side that faces the house. It's just because of the angle. It would be hard to place yourself on Scott Street and find the same view of that side, because of the angle of it and the fact that it would be a side view. I know you saying it's primary because it faces the house, but to the neighbors, the other side felt primary to them,
but it's not
them. So
if the skylights were placed on the primary elevation, which I think you're suggesting, it would not be consistent with the standards.
I don't understand why not.
Because the primary elevation is the front elevation. It's considered the most important part to keep intact, to keep the integrity intact. And so that's why the Secretary of Interior standards suggest that any changes be made on secondary elevations.
So really the view that the residents in what we call the Hellam home, that would be the primary view from their window looking toward the garage. They're placing a higher value on that than from the street where the neighbors have a view.
That is correct.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Right. You're correct.
That's what I think I understand you saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
And just one follow-up. So the main residence, the primary elevation is the one facing Scott Street
For the residents.
for the main residence.
Yes.
So we're getting into the semantics of what's the front, the primary elevation and how it's related to the street frontage, how it's related to the main house, how it's related to neighboring properties. And so I just want to get your opinion of how you defined the tobacco barn's front primary elevation, east facing, and then, for example, the garage, what would you find the primary front elevation?
Primary elevation for the garage is the entrance. So you're looking for an entrance, the front entrance. And that is a defining characteristic.
And it says that in the Secretary of Interior standards, a front entrance
A front entrance.
or accessory building?
No, for any building is the primary elevation. So for example, with the Hellam house, it has a side entrance. Historically, it had a high side entrance and had a rear entrance, but those aren't the front elevation, the front door defined where people go in from the street. That would be the front. Now with the tobacco storage building. It had a different function. So actually, trucks would be rolled up to the front of the building and loaded with tobacco. There was a much larger loading dock there at one point in time.
All right. Any other questions from the commissioners? I'm going to open it up for public comment, but oh, please. Yeah, of course.
Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is John Skorkus. I'm the architect on the project. And just a couple things back to the skylights. I want to get back to the deck at one point, but as far as the skylights go, I'm not quite sure what your fear is of seeing skylights on that side. You've got this ugly roof, this that has that old composite roof on it, and it's bowed. And I mean, that's what you're looking at now. And I can't think that you're proud of looking at that view. And so, it's going to have a new roof. The skylights are flat. They're only stick up, I think, like 3 inches off the deck. And with the roofing, it's going to be a clean, smooth roof with 3 skylights in there that are going to be non-reflective. They'll be dark, and it'll be, a wonderful appearance for that part of the project. And like Meg said, that's the backside. It'll look incredibly better than what you're looking at right now. And skylights are kind of, they're really, it's when it's done, you would see them as a non-issue, is my opinion, because they're going to be clean, they're flat, and the whole appearance of that side is going to be a new appearance and a good-looking appearance, as well as the whole tobacco barn. With the deck, Chris, can we pull that one plan that shows everything? Yeah, thanks. So if you look at where it says 211 Larkin Street, and you look at the house, which is the house that is part of our discussion, and you look at the size of their deck, where their deck is where our bedrooms and bathrooms are. So you hear all this stuff about, oh, it's going to be noisy. They're concerned about noise, privacy. We're more concerned about privacy than they are. The windows in the bathrooms will have opaque glass. So there's going to be no privacy issues at all because there's nothing to see one way or the other. And they're quite a ways away. And then, as far as noise, we would be more concerned about noise from their deck than any noise generated from the bedroom, the bathrooms. There's virtually nothing there. It's like, there's no there. And then when you get to the deck that was approved and the small deck, basically, there's already a roof there. We're just bringing the boards over for mostly appearance. And you look at how far that deck is over. It doesn't even line up with the house at all. It's completely to the opposite side of the house. And then we've got the huge tree there. And as far as, and there's the wall where that top skylight is, it's a 2-story or a single-story wall, but it's 2 stories in the building. So you've got the wall, and then you've got the existing roof where the main deck is. So any noise or anything up there would be projected to the east. And once again, it's not going to be a highly usable space. If the barbecue, everything is down at the ground level, and that's just a few kind of sitting space. And that corner is behind the stairway tower. So you're not going to be sitting there spending time there because the view's beyond that. So it's a minimal extension, and it's mostly just aesthetic to get the deck boards from looking at the roof that's there now. That's not the best roof to look at. And then we've got that huge tree that stops any privacy. Creates the privacy. So they can't see us and we can't see them, which is a perfect situation. I know there's a comment from one of the people where they're talking about a glass rail being not relative to the Secretary of Interior standards. And once again, per the historic report, everything we've done is consistent with the standards. And as you recall, we had metal rails on the project first, and you're the ones that told us to go with glass. You guided us in that direction. So it's not like we're not doing anything that wasn't consistent with your direction. And so, it's basically, pretty straightforward. If you look at where that deck is located relative to the house, they can't see us. It's so far away, and it's not a highly usable space. So I think that's kind of
Do we, oh, please.
I have a question. When you were speaking, I couldn't clearly understand the first part of it, but you talked about windows and bathrooms, and I'm not sure. And so you kind of opened the subject of bathrooms. Are there any bathrooms planned in the future for?
No, I'm saying what's existing where the two skylights are by the tree, which is the closest thing to their deck in their house.
How many
Bathroom.
bathrooms are in the house?
That's not relative.
Well, I was just trying to figure out
I'm talking
where the
about-
bathrooms
Talking
would
about the
be.
addition that was approved. Okay, this is the addition that you approved. And the part that is closest to their house is the bathrooms in the bedroom. So when they talk about a noise issue and worried about noise, there's not noise coming from the bedrooms or the bathrooms. It's the quietest part of the house, is what I'm saying. So when they're saying, it's a privacy issue, there's all going to be all this noise and all this stuff. That's the least noisy spot of the whole entire house. Is where those bathrooms and bedrooms are.
I think
I don't remember that.
I think of what they're saying is if anybody would have a privacy concern, it would be them because they're the ones that are on that side. They have the bathrooms and the bedroom on
And
them.
as far as the noise issue, because when they talk about noise, that's not where the noise would be coming from.
I don't remember the noise issue.
And then, once again, with if you look at the historic report, that deck, the board extension is consistent with the standards. The rail is consistent with the standards, and the rail is something glass that was directed by this board instead of a metal rail. And there was other talk about a rooftop deck. There is no rooftop deck. It's this deck that's above the hyphen and it's tucked behind both structures. So it's.
All right. Any questions for the architect?
Just one question.
Yes.
Can you, I doubt you have a material sample of the proposed roof shingle, but can you describe the color, the type, and whether or not it matches what was being put on one of the smaller accessory structures?
It'll match that. It'll match that one on the smaller accessory structure.
So can you describe the color and the type?
It's kind of like it's a wood shake roof. So it'll be a wood, darker wood, medium color roof.
Now I have a
That's what-
question. Brown.
It's pretty much what you saw out there, except it'll be a little bit.
We didn't
darker.
go on to the site.
Okay.
We saw it from a pretty far
Okay.
distance. I was just hoping you could describe that.
I mean, when you look around and you see a wood shake roof, they're usually weathered and darker. And that's what it'll look like.
Okay, so you're putting wood shake roofs on the
Yeah.
accessory structure.
Yes.
Okay, I think we have another question.
Does the roof material match the skylight?
It will be, well, I'm not quite sure how you do that. The skylights are going to be, first of all, they won't be reflective. And if somebody complains that they're reflective, we'll certainly take care of it. But they're not going to be reflective.
I'm thinking-
The frames will be dark.
I'm thinking if we know the color of the skylight and if the color of their actual wood shape, not composition, looks like wood, but
Yes.
real wood,
We're going to go with the wood.
you can buy it in many colors. Can you choose a color that matches the skylight so they don't stand out dramatically?
Match more likely. The skylight's going to have a dark frame, like an anodized dark frame. So it'll have a dark frame. And then the wood shakes will eventually weather and get the grayish look to them. It'll be consistent.
So they may be very different in
They won't be
color.
They won't be very different.
Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking if the color of the roof could be similar to the skylight.
It'll weather out. Typically they weather out and it'll become more of a grayish.
They both will weather out, or just, when you say they will weather out, I'm trying to understand you
The
too.
shakes will weather out. The wood will weather out.
And that will make it more like,
And make it darker.
sometimes it makes it lighter and grayer. It doesn't always make it lighter
It'll darken.
or darker. But I'm just suggesting, is it possible to get them to look as similar as possible so that the skylights don't seem like a
We do that. I mean,
very dramatic
Work on that.
difference? I'm trying to support.
we can make them as compatible or as consistent and similar as possible.
Thank you for considering that.
Okay.
It seemed like there were some options there.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely try and, match the colors and,
I understand the weathering will in time change the tone of it.
but we can minimize the difference between the two.
Thank you for understanding my.
Sure.
All right, any other, yes.
I have a question. Did you consider, ridge lines?
That would even affect the elevation more by creating a higher roof on both sides. And that would just be, and it's more work, it's more money, it's something, and as far as the framing goes and how you have to get the light down, you would need bigger skylights to get the same amount of light down. So it's just not practical.
And why on the roof deck was that was not considered in the original plan?
No. Well, you know what happens is, on any construction project, when you're building, you see things that you didn't visualize or see before. And that was where I drew the line because we weren't sure what it was all looking like or if there was going to be a level change there. And that was what I drew at the time. So when it's framed and you see that both roofs are at the same level, one is this TPO, which is more of a plastic material, and you got the roof boards there. And right next to that is the spiral stair, and it's floor to ceiling glass. So it just makes sense to carry the wood boards over, so you're not staring at the roof from the window, and you're looking at, you're looking at the wood boards. And it's simple. I mean, it's not creep, it's not anything. It's just something when you're out there and you visualize it, and it would simplify it. It would make it nice looking. And it's kind of a non-issue. Nobody could see it. I mean, it complies with the standards, and it's a simple little thing. I mean, nobody could ever see that. It's hardly going to be nobody's really going to be on it. It's more just a visual. Originally we just had the planter there. The building department that didn't think that was enough security for somebody walking off the edge. So they wanted the building department asked for the glass rail, and that's typically all it is. It's not, nobody's going to be standing there trying to look at the neighbor. Nobody's going to be standing there, playing a musical instrument or, it's just a simple space.
Okay, thank you.
One more clarity. So the historic report talks about Class A comp shingles on these two accessory buildings. They're not wood
Or something compared to that, right? Compatible
or
to that.
something. No, it doesn't say that.
I think there's,
I'm just reading it here. I'm just trying to get on record because it's
Yeah.
really hard to see what you're planning on doing on the roof material. We're laboring a lot over location of, skylights, which again are on which are going to be in an area that's already altered. And we're just trying to get clarity of what your roof material is going to be. And now, we have a little bit of a discrepancy of what's being stated and what's being written.
well, the thing was, it was supposed to, right now on the garage, there's wood shingles.
Is what wood shingles,
Wood
yeah.
shingles on the garage.
And those are going to be
And it's hard to replicate that.
Replaced.
It's hard to replicate that look.
This is going to be replaced.
Yes. There's cedar wood shingles.
Okay.
Right.
The owners are comfortable with using wood shakes, which is, if the historian can confirm and update their report, the staff would support that.
We have a question of the architect, I believe, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking here at packet page 68. And that's where it says the deteriorated shakes on the garage roof, although it didn't look like shakes, it looked like some kind of it didn't
The
look like
garage
shakes,
is wood
but
shakes
will
on.
be replaced by Class A composition shingles that meet code and fire requirements. The new shingles will replicate the original wood shingles as closely as possible. And you've been saying wood.
Well, part of the situation was the accessory, the non-historic buildings have a wood.
Well, this specifies garage, though.
I know, but the context of the site is what I'm talking about. And what's hard,
Both the tobacco barn and the garage both say Class A
I
composition.
understand. Right now, the garage has the wood shakes on it. And it's hard to
It
find.
didn't look like wood shakes when I saw it. It looked like kind of a,
Well, if you're out there now, it's covered with a tarp, so you can't see it
oh, is that
for the garage. Yeah.
tarp?
You
Okay.
have to look at some earlier pictures before it was tarp because it was leaking. And it's hard to find something consistent with the look of a wood shake that's in a composition shingle because it all looks, not what's appropriate. for those
But
buildings.
here it actually spells it out. So are you saying there's going to be a change in the plan that's here on page 68? So that instead of composition shingles that meet code and fire requirements, you're going to put wood? Or,
What we'll do is we're going to match what was on the garage as close as we can with the wood shake because we feel that's more appropriate. And what it does is it separates the accessory buildings from the main house, which is the composition shingle roof. So that kind of became the plan. There's 5 buildings on the site, and we could have the historian, work with the report, to work with what we're doing. But what's happening is, there's the main building, and there's the 2 tobacco barn and the garage, and then there's the 2 back buildings, which is the wash house and the tack room. So there's 5 buildings on the property. But there's the main house, and then there's the 4 accessory buildings. So what we're trying to do is keep the main house consistent with that has the composition shingle roofs.
and
then
I
we're trying to
I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to understand that when you said, and that kind of became the plan, it makes it seem to me, and I'm not a contractor or an architect, but it seems like it just morphed into a different plan rather than follow the plan written here. Now it's a different plan with wood shingles. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same plan,
so-
but we could,
Not the same material.
we could work out the material situation.
Well, if you don't want to have the Class A composition shingles that meet code and fire requirements, then you need to write up a change, don't you?
Well, we could accommodate that.
Because here it says you're going to put that in, and I'm looking for integrity through the project so that things aren't slipped in or just changed.
Yeah, let them.
Pardon?
think it's all talk better about the specifics. I'm David McLaughlin. So, yeah, it's the cedar shake shingles. It's a natural wood product. That's what we were planning to use. Either that or the composition shingle. Either one will be fire rated. Either one will work. We were just trying to keep it. I thought the wood, because it was on the car barn, we'd keep it all consistent with the wood fire rated. So
As a
it's going to look much better than the shingles.
I'm sure it might look terrific, but what I'm looking for is sort of the integrity of the plan. If
Right.
you say you're going to use one, I'd like you to stay with it unless you get a
Well, we
change
can-
and say we'd rather use
we
something
can
else,
do
and then that
that.
would be the
We
plan.
can do either one. It really doesn't matter. We thought for aesthetically that the wood shingles would look far better on the barns.
And it might, but just then
It will.
submit an order and say that you're changing it so that we understand that it's gone through
it's
the
such
city
a-
for it.
Sure.
That's what we're asking for, so that we don't think you're doing one thing and then it's
We-
kind of changed
we
to
are-
do something else. That's
Most certainly are not.
the concern.
And just to finish off, I'll give you a little more detail on the barn itself. It was built on 3x boards. There was no foundation underneath it.
It was,
So what we're having to do, like Chris was saying, we have to basically put a foundation into just to support it. The whole ridge is sagging right now. It's pretty much ready to cave in. So all of the work, like you were saying about that skylight on the ridge, it really wouldn't be, we have to put a whole new beam across the middle to support that roof to get it back up level again. So it's a lot of structural stuff we got to do from the inside. So structurally, the skylights are an easier way of going without another way of doing it. You know what I mean? So
I'm kind of the one that, I don't know why this is all kind of, this is such a great project. And I want to say we really appreciate the fact that you're keeping this fragile
Exactly.
structure, and you have to do so much to support it.
right.
So that the property has that kind of integrity and feel of the older,
The barns
historic
are
property.
such a big part of the whole property, you know,
yeah.
and they really need to be kept.
I think we all appreciate that.
Yeah.
We just want kind of the assurance that if you say something, that's what your plan is. And we also understand as you get into the project and have some options that you think might be better, that can happen. But if you could let the city know so that the write-up is consistent with the work you're doing,
Absolutely.
I think that.
I just want to point out from day one, we've been very transparent and we've followed through everything we said we were going to. So from the first day we met Fernanda.
And there's so much about this that so positive
Yeah.
for the city and for the community. And it's always a pleasure to drive by and
Yeah.
see the property looking like, the blocks kind of fitting in the open space and
We
Well,
believe so too. We
yeah.
believe so too.
we just don't want to look back and say, but that didn't match this and we didn't really approve that. And the neighbors say, well, did you ever look at this page and pay attention to it? We want to do our job also.
Absolutely. We're 100% behind you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I know, yes, I saw you standing up. Any questions for the gentleman that just sat down? I take it as a no. Okay, please.
Ryan, I'm one of the other owners. I just wanted to follow up on the skylight, one side versus the other. We haven't really done any improvements on the facade side or the main side of the structure where there's overgrown trees. And so I think when all that is all said and done, you're going to be way more exposed to that side. I think it's going to be way more visible than what it is right now. So I understand when you go up onto Larkin that you do, it seems like the least appropriate side to put it. But I think from a historical standpoint, I think it's going to be shown a lot more the main side. Not only that, if anybody's concerned about any reflection on it, we'll fix it, no problem at all. If we want to do composition roof, you will save us thousands of dollars. So we can go that direction too. And then the other point is on this rail or deck, it's been called like a deck extension. It's really just more aesthetic. And it's like John said, when we went out and started, it was like, look, it makes more sense for a glass rail here than here. And we really wanted to plant out that side and just kind of make it go away and aesthetically more pleasing from when you walk out to our main deck. So it's not an extension as such for us. It's just more aesthetic.
All right, doesn't look.
I'm going to chime in before we move on. I think it could be helpful for the commission to hear from the project historian on whether or not there's a lot of conversation about two different materials being used for the roofing material. I think ultimately it's prudent of whether or not both would be consistent with the Secretary of Interior standards. So I think it'd be a good idea to hear from the historian on her thoughts on that.
Ms. Clovis?
Yes, both would be consistent. So either wood or the asphalt shingles. The standards have got, with the barcodes these days, the standards have become a little bit more lenient and also for insurance purposes. So asphalt is considered okay, especially here in California. But, of course, shingles would always be consistent too. So. And I'd be happy to amend the report any way that you feel is suitable.
From my point of view, being the one that found it, is it just that it matches. I'm not suggesting an aesthetic choice. I'm just looking for the match between what they said they'd do and what they plan to do. And when the contractor spoke, it sounded like it just sort of changed, but the paperwork didn't change. And so,
No, I understand your concerns.
Thanks.
All right, procedurally speaking, could we, in the motion, amend the report to add the shingles? I mean, with all due respect to the applicants, I do want them to spend a little bit more money because I love I love wood shingles.
Not your money.
Yeah, it's not mine. I get to drive by and see the beautiful roof. But is that something that we can do so it could be consistent with the report? Can we do it today?
That's correct. Now that we've heard from the historian that both materials are consistent, if the commission chooses to approve the project, they can do so. They could do so with the condition of approval for whatever material the commission prefers, and then with a secondary condition that the report be amended and submitted to staff prior to issuance of building permits.
Okay, so we can take care of it today. Perfect.
I would also recommend the plans be amended because they do say comp shingle.
Okay, you all have to help me when we do those motions too.
We will.
To be consistent, please. All right, so if there are no more questions from the commissioners, I'm going to open it up to public comment, but I was going to check with Spencer if there's anybody online. Maybe let them participate first.
There are no attendees currently online, but I will remind the public that information on how to participate remotely by Zoom or telephone is found at monterey.gov/agendas. There are still no attendees online.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to open it up for public comment. Anybody that's present that wants to talk about this item, please.
Hi, my name's Elizabeth Atkinson. I live at 236 Larkin Street, and this is the view that I have had for the last 30 years. I'll pass it around. So my concern has to do with the tobacco barn that's there. It's designated historic resources as noted in the Secretary of the Interior standards, which is a federal standard. The standards cover 4 primary treatments: preservation, rehabilitation, restoration, and reconstruction. Restoration focuses on accurately depicting a property's appearance at a specific period in its history. There is no mention of alteration for the sole purpose of non-compatible use while preserving its historic character. The whole intent of the historic preservation and compliance with the Secretary of the Interior standards for the treatment of historic properties is not just to be concerned, as noted in the Historic Preservation Report. The intent is that the modifications are to be any modifications are to be adhered to in preserving historic resource. The proposed skylights, whether or not minimally visible, is the destruction of the historic resource. And that property is well loved. It really is. And I'll pass this around. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
My name's Connie Hahn. I live at 641 Scott Street. I also brought some pictures in. This is the view from my bedroom window that I look at every day and have looked at for the last 33 years. Before that, I rented an apartment across the street from Randy Fuller. So I'm very familiar, and I also knew Mr. Helen when he lived there. This is the change I've had to make to my windows when they remodeled the house adjacent to me because of the lights. I'm here for a purely selfish reason because I don't want to be looking at those skylights. I don't want to see the reflection of the sun on them in the afternoon. So that's why I'm here, and I don't want to see the light coming out. I also have a couple of other things I wanted to mention. Before they bought the property, the area down on Van Buren was not fenced off. It's now fenced off and has a mailbox numbered 200. Are we splitting the lot? My other comment that I'd like to make is that I have a lot of sympathy about the people that are directly behind the patio that they want to add on to. And the reason I feel so sympathetic for them is because they've had no respect for the people living here so far. We've had nonstop construction 7 days a week. One Sunday they took off at the beginning of this month, and that's because the owners were there. So anyway, I just wanted to say, if we could quit blocking the road, quit blocking the sidewalks, and let the people that live there have some peace. Last Sunday or Sunday before last, I can't remember which one, I'm brushing my teeth and I'm looking at all the workers on the roof. We haven't had a break. But if you'd like, I'll pass that around too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair Rodriguez, members of the commission, my name is John Bailey. I'm here representing the owners of 211 Larkin. It's been a spirited discussion. It's been quite a while since we've discussed the Page and Turnbull report. If you all remember in the distant past, there was another historian that did a report that was sponsored in order to look at this also, but this project is morphed many times. This project historian report was supposed to be project specific. I think there were some really good questions asked by Commissioner Barlow last time about what is the use of this property? What is the contemplated use of this property? You have the owner here. Maybe the historian doesn't know what the contemplated use is, but I think before you approve any amendment here, you should ask, what is the contemplated use of the property? Because I think it's important. Is this really important to the historic use of the property, or is this just something that they want on a whim? They're saying there's no privacy issue by my clients looking out on this new balcony. The person sitting on the balcony will be closer to my client's bedroom than I am to you right now. Imagine at night, you've got your windows open just like you do. Usually you're going to have to close your blinds because someone could be out there all the time, peering through the tree, looking into your bedroom, looking into your kitchen. It's a privacy issue. Yes, it might be nice for them, but is it a must-have? There's two sides to this equation. So that's one issue, is the privacy on this new extended balcony. They've got their balcony approved. You don't have to give them everything that they're asking you for. There's other people in this equation. So that's first. And then the second is the sewer lateral issue. There's a sewer lateral that's been in place for about 50 years. Contrary to what staff said last time, staff is aware of this sewer lateral. I put a letter in through a public records request from October 10th. You've got Mr. O'Brien here. You can ask him if he's aware of this. He said in a letter to staff, the neighbor's sewer line ties into one of the laterals coming off our property. I show this on the attached document. I provided that document showing you where the sewer line is. They say they're being transparent. Ask them if they know where that sewer line is and if they're going to crush that clay sewer line, putting their heavy equipment in to do these modifications, because my client's not going to have a toilet. Second, he said, we plan on installing a concrete paved driveway in the future over that line. To Ms. Barlow's comment, why do they need to put a concrete driveway in the future? What are they planning to do? Yes, they're developers. They want to make money with the property, potentially. But are they splitting the property? Are they using that for a residence? What are they going to do with that? Ask them directly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to make something clear here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, can't during public comment as you already spoke as the applicant. If the commission has any questions for you, you can. I'm sorry, it's just public comment.
Brown Act.
Well, I will remind the commission if they do have questions for the
Yeah.
applicant, they are able to ask questions and the applicant is able to answer.
I was going to ask if the commissioners had any questions on the sewer line or anything related to that from the applicant.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that the other day. I'd like to hear a little bit more about it.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit more about the sewer line, please?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Bailey called one day, or basically it was the property management that got a hold of me after, like a week after we got approved for the project, to let us know that there was a sewer line running through the property. We had no knowledge of it, nothing. So I went and I checked with Public Works. I checked with the owner, and he had no recollection of a sewer line. The Public Works says there is 2 laterals from our property, but there's no easement records going from 211 Larkin to our property. They said they were having problems with their sewer line. They didn't know where it went from. They did not know it was going to Scott Street. In fact, they thought it was because I met their plumber and to let him onto the property to camera the sewer line. And he thought it was actually going through our addition down onto Scott Street, which was not the case. So they've been snaking the sewer line for the longest time. Nobody ever told us about it. Nobody ever approached us about it until after we got our approval. They then went and did an application to replace the sewer line without our knowledge. I got notification that plumbers were going to be coming out onto the job site to dig up our property and replace the sewer line. So I got a hold of the building department, public works, planning, and wanted to know what was going on because they were getting a permit issue. Well, public works had issued a permit, but building did not, because building needed approval. They either needed proof of an easement or they needed an owner's letter to say that it was okay. Since that date, they have not brought anything to the table. They've not approached us about it. And so to say that we knew and were going to damage it is a complete lie. That's not our intent. Our intent here is to follow the Mills Act, restore the buildings as we were required to do, just like we have on the main house, and that's it. So the sewer line, we're not developers. This is a family home. I want to make that clear. We are not here to upset neighbors. That's not our intent. I know there's been a lot of construction going on, but unfortunately, the way the property was, it required it, and it still requires some more work. And I know at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it's going to be beautiful. And I think we've stuck to our word from day one, and we'll continue to do that. That's it.
Right. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Do you know where this sewer line is?
We do now.
Where does it?
It goes
where's it?
between the main house and the garage.
Okay.
And it's only 18 inches below grade.
Okay.
They have an option, which they were given by the city, was to take it from their property up onto Larkin.
Yeah.
So that is an option.
Yeah.
And they've been notified of that.
So let me ask you a question. I've heard from the members of the public that, sorry.
Is your mic?
I
Yeah.
wonder if that door can be shut. That would help us.
Turn it all the way.
So there's been some questions as to what your intentions for the property are. I hear you saying you're using as a residence, and if I recall correctly from last year, both brothers were going to live there. Yes. Yeah.
Brother-in-law,
Oh.
my sister,
Okay.
my son,
Gotcha.
family home.
Gotcha. So that's the intent
This
for
is
the property.
absolute intent of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I don't know if this is, it does say on the next page, 69, that the garage will continue to be used as a garage and none of the proposed work will affect its relationship with a house. The tobacco barn, some of the, possibly that could be used in a different way. I guess, because it's certainly not going to continue to be used as a tobacco barn.
Right now, we're just obligated to restore it. We don't know what we're going to do with it. I mean, we have our nice addition now. We have our, it's like we don't know. We want to fix it up. In fact, what we did the last time was we were told we could demo the tack room and the washhouse, and we opted to keep them, and we restored them, both of them. And we put it back together exactly. It is a wash house. It's a laundry room right now. We put back the shake roof, what should be in there. It's beautiful. And I think it's a real part of the property. And that's what we want to do. But yeah, we were told to demolish them. We kept them.
And I don't have questions about the proposed use.
Okay. Any other questions before I close public comment? Any other comments from the public? All right. So we'll close public comment. I'm opening it up to the commission. Any comments? Any motion?
Well, I just want to point out that our standard is rehabilitation, not restoration, which is what someone had mentioned. So it allows we don't have to turn it into a tobacco barn.
Right.
It is.
That's all.
Yeah. So I just want to make that clear.
All right. Any other comments?
I have a comment. I'm glad we had the opportunity to walk around. We couldn't get some views because of the construction and the limitations. We were on the sidewalk, so we were limited a little, but I think it it helped to see it. I also enjoyed looking at the pictures again and looking at the sunshine and how it hits the two sides. I know they're proposing these inserts that will add light on one side, but I'm also kind of hoping they'll consider, just because of the neighborhood and some of the comments, to have that put on the other side with the trees trimmed. I think they'll also have lots of light from the other side, and I don't think it's as visible to the neighbors on either street as I couldn't come up with an angle where it was more visible. I know that they say this is the front because of the doors, but I'm just saying the side of the structure is not nearly as prominent as it is, from the other side. So as you move forward and see where the trees are and the light, just consider that would maybe be a move toward helping people feel more comfortable with it. I think sometimes when things change in a neighborhood, it is upsetting to people that get used to seeing it the same way. And I think these changes are within the standards, within the direction we have. I just think that sometimes it's an adjustment for people, and adjustment sometimes is uncomfortable because they're just not used to seeing it that way. So we want to feel that the public is heard by the commission, and we want to think about ways to help them with their feelings with the whole project as a whole. And we really do appreciate the fact that you're taking such care with the project and that you really want it to be a successful place and save the older buildings and have it be comfortable for your family.
Any other comments?
I agree with Geraldine on all of that. When I was looking at the tobacco barn and where the skylights are going to be, I really didn't have a problem because they're facing a landscape lot, not a house. However, now I hear about this reflection thing from other neighbors. I don't know.
I mean, I was thinking about that too, because I heard the concern from the neighbors, but I also heard the commitment from the architect and the applicants that if that was ever an issue with a reflection, they would certainly take care of it. So, I mean, I hope that, I don't know how binding it is that, but yeah, I mean, as somebody that lives in a city with neighbors, not in the country, all these things affect us, and I'm sympathetic to the neighbors, but I'm also, grateful to the applicants of the work and the restoration and keeping this building for hopefully many years to come in good state.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody has any comments or anybody wants to make a motion.
Well, I mean, agree with what everybody's saying. I'm not sure what taking care of reflectivity of a skylight. Well, I don't know how you would do that. And I get a little concerned if we say like, oh yeah, I could get taken care of because, it's going to be reflective if it's glass on any level. So I don't want that to be kind of as a way to ameliorate neighborhood concerns. With that said, I think I said last time, with the accessory structure, I don't have a big concern of putting skylights on a roof. There was some, but I also don't think that it would lose integrity. I could see us I could see the building still maintaining integrity if we required the skylights on the east side, so that, the garage skylights and the tobacco skylights did face one another. But I'm not really strong. I mean, I don't feel that strongly about that. If that's, I'm not feeling that strongly about it. So, regarding the deck and the railing, I mean, it's barely minimal. I mean, the flooring, we talked with staff at the site visit, you could have a deck flooring as it is now. It's already flat. Our discussion is, do we want to have a 3.5-foot glass railing there or not? I don't really have much concern about it. I don't think it's going to have a lot of impact on the neighbors. There's no lights on that side, so I'm not really concerned about that. The alteration, I mean, I think that you guys are doing a fantastic job on these old buildings, giving it, another hopefully century of use. I think I asked about use last time. Levi, you did correct me that it's really not part of our purview to opine that much on use. I mean, it has to comply with what's allowed in the zoning and general plan requirements for the site. So, they don't know what they're going to do with it now, but, the plans do not show, accessory living. There's no, plumbing being associated. It's just electrical lighting and, interior siding at this point. And then, so really it comes down to, in my opinion, our discussion on the skylights, location of that, and then amending, Ms. Clovis already said she'd be making amendments to the historic report. And so we can make a finding of that.
Yeah, I think I'm good with everything, but I agree with Geraldine that the report needs, you've got two declarative sentences that declare opposite things. So we need to have that tidied up. But otherwise, we have skylights in our house and our neighbors up behind us have never complained in the 30 years we've had them, and they're old style. So I'm guessing if they reflect, I don't know that it's always an issue.
Yeah. The only thing I would, for the amendment of the, I think we need to amend make a motion to amend the permit, I think you mentioned, and also to ask the historian to amend the report. I would love to give them the option to say, like I said, I would really love shake. It's not up to me. It's not my money, as I was reminded, but maybe give them the option so they can, as the building progresses and things come up, maybe say shingles as stated in the report, or shake roofing as stated by the architect, just so they don't have to come back and they can be in. Yes.
Yeah, they've already started putting shake on the other two accessory buildings. I think we should provide some, like either have it all be consistent or not. So if they're on the path to shake, let's just have them continue that.
All right, I'm okay with that. I didn't know they had already started. All right, so does anybody want to make a motion?
So is that then that they would amend the papers here to say shake?
I would say part of the motion would be to, if I was making the motion, I don't know if Brown Act yet, I can do that. But if I was making the motion, I would make the motion as proposed by staff. In addition, condition probably to file an amended report that includes the consistent language with shake roofing instead of the composite that's there, plus whatever we need to include to amend
project plans.
Yes.
Yeah, so the way I would recommend that is by making a motion that includes a condition of approval requiring that the roofing material on both structures be wood shake, and that the historic preservation report and plans be amended to reflect that.
Anybody want to make that motion?
I have one more thing. That part, say the language though. I didn't want.
I could say it again.
You can say it again. Okay, that's good because when you said it so well, so we don't want to lose that the wording. Sometimes we get muddled up in that. So I just want to check with the owners. Would they consider if the trees allowed it to move the skylights to the other side?
We'll have to reopen the public hearing to allow them to answer that.
We have to do that to reopen the.
Can I?
Yeah, you'd have
Chair
to.
can.
Okay, let's reopen the public hearing to hear from the applicant's question from the commissioner, whether you all would consider, if allowed, moving the skylights from one side or the other.
I think we need to go with the MEG and see whatever the standards are. I would, I have no comment on that. I think we need to stick within the guidelines for all. This is the historical review here. I think MEG is doing everything to stay within those guidelines. So I would have to go with MEG's recommendation.
So you're saying you don't want to change the skylights?
No,
What if
I
the
think we've done a great
skylight?
job so far in keeping within all the guidelines, and we were held to all the guidelines when we were submitting for the addition. We made adjustments for that from public comment. And I think we need to continue with that standard. So this is one of those standards where I think we stick with the guideline.
I didn't understand. To me, it would not be contrary to the standards, it would still be allowed. But
No.
you're saying that you'd rather stick with the way she stated it.
Correct.
Okay, I understand.
I think, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for you too. Have you looked at skylights? Have you made material determinations on the roofing changes at all? Or is this all just
No, we will do.
kind of ideas?
We've done the shake roof on the washroom.
Right, I appreciate that. What about skylights?
Sky, what do you mean? What?
Have you picked out what skylights you're going to use?
Profile skylight, the color will tie in with the roof.
Okay.
Color. No reflectivity.
Okay, so I know you have the criteria, but have you actually chosen which skylights you're going to buy if this is approved? Velux, okay.
Okay, since we opened it up, do I need to open up for public comment? All right, any public comment on what was mentioned right now? Yes, we have someone. And then Spencer, I'll ask you if there's anybody online.
My name is Mike Haw and live at 641 Scott Street. And the picture you took was from Scott Street going up. And so you don't really see the whole side of the roof. Whereas if you're on Larkin Street, that's all you see is the whole roof. Every time you walk by, you see the green rolled roofing. And I know if it's going to be wood shingles or shakes, that's fine. But the skylights are always going to pop out because they're a different texture. You know, it's not wood, it's glass. So right away, it doesn't blend in. And then, you know, facing them, people walking up the street, you're not going to even notice them because all the giant redwood trees. On the other side is totally exposed. So if they don't have a problem with switching sides, put it on the other side, not the side that's totally exposed.
All right. Thank you. Spencer, anybody online that has raised their hand to participate?
There's still no attendees online. I will remind the public one more time. Information on how to participate remotely by Zoom or telephone is found at monterey.gov/agendas. No attendees online.
Thank you. Ma'am, I see you stood up. Do you want to comment something on the skylights, this last portion of it, please?
My name is Elizabeth Atkinson. I live at 236 Larkin Street, and I would just like to reiterate that roof line is beautiful. And I think if you put skylights on it, you're going to remove it from its historical use. And I think it's just, it's not going to be seen under those beautiful redwoods at all. It's a gorgeous building. It is well loved. And it isn't just another skylight. Everybody that drives down there, it's a low roof. We all walk by it. We've driven by it for years. It's gorgeous. It does destroy the use of that building. If you could move them to the other side, just put a couple there, nobody would notice. And I think it would be fitting. And thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to close the public comment section. I think I now need to go to the commission again if they have any comments on what the latest that was discussed regarding the skylights, position, materials, color matching, etc. No?
Yeah, I have a comment. So it seems to be a question between the historic preservation of the facade versus what the neighbors see, which side you put the skylights on. And from the commission's standpoint, I would think preserving the facade would be the preferable decision.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it upsets the neighbors that they're going to be looking at skylights from a historic preservation standpoint, that should be the only way to go.
I think once they get rid of the green rolled roofing, it's going to look way better, even with skyline. But,
all right. Any other comments? Okay, so I'll also take motions if anybody's interested in making any.
I'll try.
Levi will help us.
Okay.
If you'd like, Commissioner O'Neill, if you'd like, I can just read a motion and you can jump on it. Yeah. Okay. So I believe the motion, based on the conversation we've heard today, I believe the motion would be to a motion to approve the project as submitted with the special condition of approval that the wood shake be used as the material for both accessory structures. and that the historic preservation report and project plans be amended to reflect that and submitted to the planning division prior to issuance of building permits.
Well done.
Do we have a second?
No, I was the.
She made the
You
motion.
made the motion, yes.
I'll second.
Second, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. All those, oh, sorry, I thought you said aye, that's why I asked you. Okay, aye, all those opposed?
I'll stick up for the neighborhood here and say nay.
All right.
And before we move on, Mr. Argenbright, do we have a accurate reflection of that vote, or do we need to do a roll call?
I believe that is all ayes and one no from Smith Crivello. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Motion passes.
And I'll just remind that action is appealable to the planning commission within the next 10 days with forms made available on the planning website or in the planning office.
All right, well, thank you very much to the applicants, to the members of the public that came today, and to the staff for the report. I think we now need to move on to the next item, which is to confirm annual appointments for chair and vice chair. I don't know, did I do an okay job?
Very good, very good.
All right, so.
I'm not doing it, it works.
In all fairness, Spencer did warn me that that was happening. Was it? Yeah, it was Spencer. You warned me. I think you emailed me that that was happening today. All right. So
We just wanted you to say yes, we didn't want to.
absolutely.
Spencer's a big person.
All right. So do we need to make a motion? I'm assuming yes.
We have a brief staff report that we can provide as
Okay,
well
thank you.
before we do that.
Do we need a motion?
We can let a brief staff presentation that we'll do. And then, yeah.
Is that Chris or who? Oh,
Fernanda.
Fernanda. Okay. Thank you, Fernanda.
Okay. My name is Fernanda Roveri, Principal Planner for the City of Monterey. And I think based on Juan's performance, I think he's ready. So yeah, each July, the chair and vice chair positions rotate so that each member gets a chance to serve and to ensure the even distribution of responsibilities. To be eligible for the chairs or vice chair positions, a member must have served for at least 6 months. And so based on appointment dates, Commissioner Rodriguez is next in line for the chair position, followed by Commissioner Barlow. As such, staff recommends that the HPC appoint Commissioner Rodriguez as the new chair and Commissioner Barlow as vice chair. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, and you should take public comment and then discuss and make a motion.
All right. I'm going to open it up for public comment. Spencer, anybody online?
There are no attendees online.
All right. I see none in present unless I'm missing something. All right. So I'm going to close public comment. Any comments from the commissioners?
I'm good.
I'm happy to support the concept of changing the voice of the leadership in the committee. I think it's good for us all to hear from somebody else and have that. And I'm so glad that you're going to accept the nomination to be that.
Well, I was going to say, based on today, I don't know if I wanted, but then I heard distribution of responsibilities. So it's my turn. So yeah.
We didn't want to decide without you being.
No, I appreciate it. And I know last year I was out of the country when that discussion happened and I got a 1-year pass. So I know I'm due. I'm due.
So I'm happy to make the motion unless there's more discussion that we follow the plan of rotation and that we now have a new chair of the commission. So congratulations, and the vice chair, Julie. So pay attention and we'll move ahead.
All right. And did I hear a second? Second. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Unanimous. And I think.
Oh, and I'd like to thank Chair Rath for her service, even though she's not here.
We need to do that next meeting when she's here. All right. So nothing. Oh, planning updates. Anything from the department?
Sure. So just quickly, as noted in the agenda packet for this meeting, there's currently no items that are tentatively scheduled for our September 11th meeting. But if that changes, we'll be sure to let this group know. Also noted are the historic and cultural events happening. In case you didn't hear during this meeting, it's Car Week. So that's going on. But also, also West End celebrations happening on August 23rd and the 24th over in Sand City. And the Festa Italia is September 5th through the 7th at the Custom House Plaza.
And I think I got an email from the city Turkish festival too, right around in between next weekend
Cannoli or baklava
or both.
or both. Yeah.
Why not? All right. If that, nothing more for the.
I've
please.
got two things. One is, I don't think we had it on our upcoming events, but the Monterey Foundation had the Marcia DeVoe lecture, which was from Julie was there, was the historian from BLI. It was really a good presentation.
I was there.
Yeah. So if we could, I don't know how you find out about those things, but if that would have been nice to know that way.
How did the three of you find out about it?
I probably read it in the week.
Old Town.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah. I think I read it in the week.
We'll have to subscribe to that, I guess.
Yeah.
We can be.
It was simply that day.
Yeah, it was.
I'll use Julie's login information.
It looks like the Monterey History and Arts Association sent an email about it as well. I got that.
Yeah. So if in the future, because it would be nice to know, not on the morning of with, hey, you want to not have dinner and go listen to a lecture, but it was very, very good.
And well attended too.
It was. And Point Sur did have our open house, our living history, but we've got another event, which everyone is waiting for. We have an open house at the Naval Facility, which is the Cold War listening facility. That is the August 31st. So it's Sunday of the Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
And it's $15 and you drive in and we give you a guide and you walk around and people tell you secrets. Yeah.
What time does it start?
Noon to 2. The last car should be out by 3. So, yeah, it's not that bad. You can walk around and you've got 3 hours to visit.
Yes.
But we just want everybody out by 3. You'll be fine.
Any other announcement? All right. I promise I'm going to do this once because I've never done it before and I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to adjourn the meeting. All right. It's 5:27 and we're adjourned for today.